What is up, everybody? So, I'm aware we're late. I apologize. But it's time to talk about Superman. Are y'all ready? I'm not sure if you guys are actually ready.
Here we go, yeah. And we'll give everybody a chance to settle in here because we were just on the Bone Bridger stream. Yeah, had a riveting debate, a riveting conversation about Superman. This is going to be the most talked about film for like a ridiculous number of years.
Like forever.
No, I don't think it will be talked about for a decade. I don't think it will be. But we'll get into that. Let's start by saying hi to some people in chat. Let's just take this easy, guys. Settle into this, because there are a lot of people who are talking about this film who are afraid to talk about this film. We're not afraid to talk about this film, and so just I don't know if we need to start having trigger warnings on this channel, but like you're gonna hear stuff that you might like, you might not like. That's what we do. Like,
it is, yeah. It's YouTube. Like, I feel like we're gonna have to clarify some things ahead of time before we get into it, so that we're all on the same page.
And the point of this State of the Union is because basically, since we started the channel, Superman has been like the biggest thing that's kind of been the through line that we've talked about, and it's been contentious. We've always come at it and we've reported what we've heard. Like, I don't want to use a word. We've always spoken about. Like, reported, like, as in, like, put it in, like, the video. We've always made videos about the things we've heard about, and we've assessed them on likelihood of truth or not, like not being real, based on pattern recognition and what we were hearing and seeing and just analyzing going on in the film industry at Warner Brothers, what we know about James Gunn, what we know about, David Zaslav, what we know about what Warner Brothers wanted, what we were hearing, what we know about the act, just taking, just all little details and then putting them together and saying, what does this most likely mean? And that has led to a lot of videos that people did not like. We very rarely have had people engage and say that challenge the conclusions we come to, but more just attack that they didn't like
the way it was said or how it affected them emotionally,
or they didn't like what it would mean. A case in point, we've made videos saying it was very clear the intent of this Superman was to be silly. Okay. Now, because of people's own baggage, when you say that, they're like, oh, this is an insult. And I'm like, I don't mean an insult. I'm just saying it's going to be silly. And I saw people say, no, it's not going to be silly. Shut up. You're spreading misinformation. You're a hater. It's not going to be silly. And then it came out and the trailers came out and people are like, it's going to be silly. And then they're like, I don't like that you're saying it's going to be silly because you know what you're doing. You're being so mean, calling it silly. Don't call it silly. And then they went and saw it and now they're praising it for being silly.
But Andy, but not too funny.
But not too funny.
But not too funny.
That's and we're gonna talk. So the next couple of days, it's just gonna be us relaxing with you guys. We're gonna do it no matter what. So if it's not for you, don't feel obliged to hang out, because this is really just us getting to like relax after a year and a half and just unload on everything that we have witnessed in YouTube. By the way, this isn't just the YouTube comment sections. We've noticed an enormous amount of
disingenuous.
Yeah. By the way, the word disingenuity, more people need to look up what it means, because it's become the literally of our time. No. It's just in the same way that people's like, you literally are the word.
Like, you literally using it as like a keyword that they just want to throw out there as if to make their point.
But the actual disingenuity, people playing dumb or pretending not to recognize patterns that we know that they're just being in general trying to obfuscate truth through a perception of non-understanding or feigning ignorance. And the thing is, with YouTube, you get a very quick read on the people, on like what they notice. That's the cool thing, but maybe also the scary thing for people about this digital age we live in is, the more you talk, the more data there is to assess like what type of things does this individual typically put together, right? Like in the old days when it was just people interacting in chats, like if you didn't see the person a lot, there was like room for misunderstanding. But now we get a pretty good read on what things people should do. So it becomes pretty jarring when you see them across other films or just across in general be able to put together patterns,
or point
but
out
then
certain
they
things.
get to a thing that they can't recognize. And then you say, okay, well, that's interesting because you're an intelligent person, but for this, you seem to be struggling to recognize stuff.
Or pretending it's not there.
Yeah. And in those moments, there are questions about integrity. Like, and that's what I'll say.
Yes.
And again, this is aimed at no one specific. It's kind of just a
generalization.
A general pattern we've noticed as probably in our sphere of YouTube, the people who get attacked, I don't want, again, not attack's the wrong word, who get challenged the most, and that we do not mind. But this is a victory lap for us. Like,
yeah,
so
we were right.
Because like almost every, I don't even want to say almost. That's that's a knee-jerk reaction to seem more subtle. If you go back, every single prediction we made leading up to Superman was 100% true, like unequivocal, without notes. Everything we said was true. Every person who we've talked to who debunked something we said is false. They were incorrect. And at this point, it's kind of like, did they know they were incorrect, or were they stupid, or are we living in an age where people, if they don't like the tone of something, or they don't want to hear, or they don't want to accept the ramifications of what the truth means, they'll reject it wholesale? And again, maybe it might just be the world we live in now. I think there's an attempt to make truth and observation subjective, to get away from the empirical.
Yes. And we will be delving into that because there is a lot from this film that is not subjective, but
because we talk about a lot of stuff on this channel. We're not just a comic superhero channel. We talk about all things that we like in movies, films, because guess what? Movies, films, games, that's stuff that's just, it's what shapes the world today. And if you're engaged, like, you're going to be participating in those things.
So enough with that diatribe. I'm gonna say welcome
say hi to everybody
in chat, and then we're gonna start. Okay, what is up, Sergeant Giratina? I promise you, we're gonna answer that today.
And by the way, as we do this, chat, ask hard questions.
Yes. In the beginning, we'll try and do a little bit of like non-spoilers, but in all honesty, you guys, if you're on the internet, you've probably seen or heard all of the spoilers already.
Yeah.
People have talked about us, especially with the early release for the Prime Video stuff, and as well as the reviews of people. Like, multiple people did spoiler reviews today. So like, I don't see any point in not doing spoilers. You guys already know what's going on, and I honestly don't think the spoilers are going to ruin the film for you regardless, because it's completely different hearing what we're talking about and then actually seeing it.
And we'll do our best to not spoil things without letting you know that we're verging on spoilers. But the reason for this is, like, the discourse surrounding Superman is actually bigger than the film it is.
Yeah. What's up, Daniel Larison? Welcome. Tara said, folks, the gloves are coming off on the stream. Yeah, because, again, we're a small channel, and for a year, especially for the past year with Superman, we've put our opinions out there unapologetically. But, dude, I mean, people didn't like it. And now, people that didn't like it, I guess I'm saying is, like, where's the mail coming from? Like, are they going to put it in the comments? Is it going to come from DMs, or good old letter of apologies for being wrong? Yeah, where's our apology?
Everybody? Yeah, where are the apology letters, guys?
Tarstud said, so excited for this. I time traveled into the future, aka took a nap, which I appreciate you, good sir.
He fundamentally changed his point in time.
All of Tara's right now, because we've been talking about it behind the scenes. Tara's like, they're showing a lot of restraint right now. Get ready, folks. Oh my gosh. Bye, Sergeant JTL. We'll see you later. Justin Patton said, have a blessed stream because he sees Superman on Tuesday. Sean Franklin, welcome.
How's it going?
Yeah, bracing ourselves. I also want to say, you guys, just because this is our opinion, that does not mean that's also how you're going to enjoy the film.
Yeah, your mileage may vary, as people say. Also, dude, it should go without saying that we are speaking from opinion,
which should be obvious.
But we're going to be pointing out logical things, and some of these there will be correct answers, by the way. This is not subjective. So if you're coming here for the mindset of, well, it's all subjective, you are wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
Taste preferences can be subjective. Technique and whatnot are not.
Whether you enjoyed it, whether it was fun,
we're taking that off the table. Like enjoyment. By the way, you won't be able to tell based on what I'm saying fully how I feel about it, because that's not really what's important. It's about the pattern recognition.
Yeah. Daniel Larson said lots of people are saying it's forgettable.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
100%. Yeah. Welcome, Seasoned Mind. Terrace. Yeah, it feels like a lot of people are waiting for Monday's box office results to see which way the wind blows in the YouTube space.
I want to come back to that.
Okay.
And we're going to start some of y'all's comments because, you guys usually bring up some great points.
And I'm not going to lie, you guys, I'm very behind in the comments right now.
Yeah.
Welcome, Elijah City. We're going to get back to that because, yes, I want to address that. Paulo Caesar, welcome. Not that concerned about opening weekend box office because Studio fudge numbers like Disney did.
That's another great comment.
Well, yes,
these comments, you guys are throwing out amazing things.
What's up with Niall Barnes? So yeah, some of these. So don't get upset if I don't read your comment. I'm probably if I don't read it, I'm probably starring it so we can come back to it.
Some of them are worthy of being made videos just in of themselves because you guys are asking the right questions. I will say I do appreciate all of you guys because we've met so many people through the just starting this channel in the comments that actually care about getting to the bottom of stuff. But dude, we're not here to just say I liked film. Done.
Yeah. And we will never be the channel that says because we enjoyed it, it's the same thing as it being good.
We're much more interested in the why, the how.
And we're able to separate the two.
Because I can like films that I know are bad, and I can dislike films that I know are good. And so if I dislike a film, I may not even be arguing with you that it's a good film. Do you understand? I don't think that that's sinking into people from just,
What's up, Chris Robertson? He says, hated it, thought it was god awful. I'm saying it's going to be very divisive, very divided on.
Well, let's put a pin in the point of, is it divisive? Because that's another thing that we cannot seem to agree upon.
Yeah. And Terrace, so I was behind because there's even more than that now. But for the 45 people watching across platforms, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Because I forgot to say that.
Off cycle, and it reminds me of Tron. It's like in 3 cycles.
Yeah. Darcy said, what's silly is that we have to preamble any movie franchise discussion this much. Thank you. The fact that I'm having to do this much of an intro before we get into
it. Because people are going to lose their minds. What's up, Robert?
That's our friend. What's up?
It's my best guy right there. He went and saw Superman with us last night.
Yep. All Together Productions. Welcome. What is this internet you speak of?
By the way, that's what we do here. It's just us and you guys in the comments just versus the internet.
Bro, does anyone else see an IMDb rating?
Yeah, we're going to talk about why the IMDb rating was hidden. Yeah.
And yes, the same thing. The whole movie was leaked online anyways, you guys.
The whole movie?
No, through people's comments, people posting about it.
Well, no, because I know some people that said you could actually see the entire ending of the film.
Yeah. Dan Yeager, welcome.
What's up, Dan Yeager? Great to have you, Dan.
What's up, Bofa?
Dan, by the way, on Bone Bridger's channel, does some amazing stuff, pulling in
box office numbers.
Box offices. Yeah. Go check out Monday Night Movie Madness to see his great work on that channel on Bone Bridger's stream.
Okay, I will actually star this. We'll come back to that. What's up? I don't know how to say that. Andy does though.
What's that?
Your homeboy.
Oh, Palakwane SK.
Yeah. What's up? And yeah, so we'll be doing this all weekend. This will just be the first stream, you guys. We're doing another one.
Yeah, settle in, guys. No holds barred, by the way. There will never really, within reason, we're not gonna deal with bots in the comments anymore.
I'm not even gonna read this, but welcome. PRK Gaming Collectibles, welcome. And shout out to Sky.
That's another funny thing is the number of people that preface their streams by saying my honest review.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people have been calling it, but we've talked about that for forever. It's dude, so we can agree that a lot of times people are not being honest with their reviews. A lot of times people are saying the things that they think their community wants to hear.
Yeah.
And you do end up becoming a slave to your community. And by the way, I have no problem. That's just good business. When you are in business, you start to say, well, what is it that my customers actually like? And that's what you should double down on, right? If you view YouTube as a business, you should absolutely just give your subs what they want, especially if authenticity is not key to that value proposition.
Yeah.
This is not a business for us, so we just don't do that.
Exactly. What's up, Anima Barnes? Tish, welcome. We're gonna delve into that in a minute. Yeah. What's up, Giancarlo?
Already, by the way, I love our chat so much because people,
if you've seen so many good questions
that we've been posting on Twitter, it's hilarious because, again, you can tell who gets our tone and who participates in our tone, like that comment from Tish, and other people who are like, yeah, just surface level.
I loved, Dan, I'm here for the spoilers. I want to know people's opinion and also why. Yes.
A man of sophistication and nuance. I respect it.
And you're good, Anima. Welcome. Terry said, let's be real here. 9% of the film has been spoiled already on the internet, so I wouldn't worry about holding back. Everyone basically knows what happens. Yeah. So let's just, So, okay. You know what? Yeah. Oh, it's actually leaked?
That's what I heard.
So someone actually said, do you guys want to know where to get it? I didn't put that because I was like, I don't know if you're like pirating or,
I wouldn't want to
I don't want to ruin it
for
for
fire.
People. Yeah.
If people want to pirate a film, they're going to pirate a film. But I appreciate the offer.
But we did see it in an IMAX theater.
It's like in 30 Rock when they go to Dr. Spaceman, and he's offering them those. Would you like some reds, some blues? He goes, "Oh, it'd be rude not to." Yeah. But thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you want to start, guys? And again, ask us anything. Dude, we're not going to hold back.
Okay. Do you want to go through their questions first?
Yeah, let's go through the questions first. I think that's it. Terrace knows the level of beautiful mind, staring at
because we appreciate you guys so much. I love that you guys are here, that you're very interactive in the chat. We will go through the questions first and answer those, and then we will probably go from beginning to end and pick out certain specific points and stuff.
Katie, as we do this, put up banners so that we can actually keep track. Type the banners.
Of what?
Oh, that's not gonna work. Never mind.
No.
Never mind.
It's like I can't even see it.
Can't see it. StreamYard's made some updates that make it.
Not gonna lie, guys. Useful. What's up, Gyro? Welcome. And then Somar, welcome. Yeah. So after credit scenes, I'll address that as well. We'll get into that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to start. Okay.
So first comment. Yeah.
Tara says it feels like a lot of people are waiting for Monday's box office results to see which way the wind blows in the YouTube space.
Yes.
Fact.
Yes.
Yes.
We noticed this when the first trailer came out for Superman. Take it down just so that. I guess leave it.
Reference.
Change it to the thing. I hate this white.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah, change it to the minimal or the classic.
Is that better?
Yeah.
There you go. Andy's eyes now can deal.
So we noticed when the first Superman trailer dropped that something was going on YouTube. People are always. If you know about YouTube, people always want to be first. I mean, that's just journalism in general. Just anything that has to do with timeliness. People want to be the first to get their reaction out, the first to give their opinion. And then we got to Superman and people wanted to be last. It was jarring. We came out as soon as we saw the trailer and we gave our hot takes for it. And of course, that was met with derision and as you'd expect, which is, by the way, good. You're supposed to heatedly engage with people on YouTube. You should not be on a YouTube channel just agreeing with people.
You should be on YouTube if you're not going to be authentic.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Explain what you liked, what you didn't like. My biggest issue is I feel like there's a lot of people not being authentic.
There's a lot of fence sitting, and there's a lot of attempts to change the conversation, to keep moving the goalpost.
Yes.
To keep, Texas sharpshooter this thing, and to just keep being I'm just going to circle the grouping that I think works and then make my summation based on that. And the more you see it, the more it's becoming hard to listen to, if I'm being absolutely frank, because to me, I think authenticity is very important. I don't need to agree with people. I just want to know that we've talked about this for a couple of streams now. Have any opinion you want, have integrity and have passion. And stand by your passion with integrity. And something happened with Superman, and that stopped being the case. People instead are very afraid. There's and let me know if you guys have noticed this. I see a great hesitancy to just talk about a film. It's very strange.
And it was very obvious when you would delve deeper into the things people liked or disliked about the film.
and there'd be lots of negative things, but then the overall score wouldn't match what they were saying.
Yeah. And again, this goes all the way back to the trailers. Ask yourself how many times you've seen people on YouTube give a trailer reaction and they'll look at a trailer like, this looks like shit. And that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Jurassic World came out, people looked at the trailer like, this looks like a piece of shit. And nobody fought back and said, oh, you guys are haters. What the fuck's wrong with you? Why can't you give this film a chance? You want it to fail before it even comes out. But when Superman came out, you have to do this weird thing where for everything you say critical, you have to say something nice.
Yes.
And you'll notice it. By the way, I just want people to keep an ear out for the pattern recognition of people. There's like this fear of just shooting straight.
Dude, no, you want to know the buzzwords to know automatically when they're not being honest? It's the Superman we need right now.
Without defining what that means.
Yeah. Or a continuous statement about what they liked or didn't like about the film. And then at the end of it being like, I don't understand why people can't just turn their brain off.
Yeah. There's from day one. So to understand what's going on, that's why this is so weird, is being part of the Superman fandom. You know, we're part of many fandoms, but Superman is one of them. Love Superman. But the past decade has been marked. The defining thing of the past decade has been love or hate of Man of Steel. Almost every conversation boils down to how people feel about Man of Steel. So what did you like? What did you hate? Did it ruin Superman? Did it kill DC? Is Zack Snyder an awful human being who destroyed your childhood? You know, did he take the thing you loved out back and shoot it in the back of the head?
Did he ruin DC for you?
Did he break into your home and open your Christmas presents? Or is he a messianic figure who's the only person to get Superman? Or are you someone in between who's like, hey, I like the film, or I dislike the film and have reasons? But the thing is, Zack Snyder and Man of Steel and this discourse surrounding Superman has been what's marked the past 10 years of Superman fandom. And it's been highly critical. People will pick down to the nth degree, and they should, by the way. They absolutely should, what they like and dislike. The second that James Gunn was announced as the head of DC Studios, that changed. Stopped being the case.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we start talking about things like faith. And we start talking about trust, and we start talking about how I trust a director because he never misses, or he hasn't let me down yet. And then you're like, okay, that's a very interesting thing. That's something that you would hear in the fandom. And then you ask them to delve deeper, just from a general point of trying to know more. And then the thorns come out. It's like, well, why are you challenging? I'm not challenging. I'm asking. Just like we did with Man of Steel. Just like we did with Brandon Routh, just like we did for every character from every movie, every show, that's what people on YouTube who talk about movies and shows and stuff, that's what they do. But for this, there was a guardedness.
Unnecessarily so. And it was very obvious, especially when people will look at this film, and when you're deciding whether or not you liked certain characters, there's this hesitancy to say no. But you have to give the disclaimer of, I liked the actor, but I didn't really they did the best they could with the story. But then how is that not a condemnation of the film? Because that's the movie we were given. I don't understand this weirdness that's going on where people are like, well, I have hope for the future. Or this excuse of like, it could have been done better, but like, that's what they had to work with. Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah.
That's the movie we watched.
By the way, this is another kind of a perfect point, Sean Franklin. Have you seen the Superman 2 director cut? See, in director's cuts, and yes, of course, but director's cuts are exactly what the fandom is. You can love a character, in a film, and then be like, have a difference of opinion what is better, like between dude, look at Blade Runner. Look how many different cuts there are of Blade Runner, and it's never been a problem to discuss them. You can like them all, you can hate them all, you can like some, you can hate some. That's never been a problem. But something with Superman changed the fandom.
Yeah.
It changed YouTube. It changed discourse. Yeah.
Currently, yes. So I don't like that point. I think people are being fake. I think people want to like this film more than it actually is good. Do you want to go to this point real quick, or just go down the line?
Hit Dan Yeager's point.
Yeah, Daniel says, from what people are saying, this new Superman seems to want to be the Tick. I liked the Tick, mind you, but Amazon canceled it pretty quick, and it's really not what I wanted from Superman.
That's a beautiful point, Dan Yeager. So, and this is where you see this very in an actual disingenuous take a lot online is any doubts about James Gunn being right for this role, trying to insinuate that means that the person is saying that James Gunn is not right for any roles.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take that argument to its logical conclusion. You're like, okay, so you're saying that James Gunn's perfect for every role. And they can't make that argument because it's clearly a ridiculous thing.
It's a ridiculous
There's
statement.
no director who's perfect for everything. And that's kind of just, that's self-evident, right?
Yes.
But there's this need to pretend he is. And so one of the big things that we thought about day one with the news of James Gunn coming in as the head of DC Studios and the director of Superman, sorry, there's a dog barking, is that coming through on the camera too much?
It's good, probably.
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about is, like Guardians, I've actually seen all of James Gunn's stuff, even the stuff that he probably wishes that you
didn't see,
like his old Tromo stuff, things like Super, the things that definitely don't paint his approach to superheroes in the best light. And I've liked most of his stuff, but again, not all of it. Like, there's not a director who I've liked every single thing he's done. Yet, when I said, hey, I have questions of whether or not he's right for Superman, again, the clause came out and it's like, no, you're a hater. And I don't know why James Gunn elicits such loyalty that he seems to be the only director I've ever seen who is above criticism.
Hope that's not crypto. It was like, yeah. I won't take that slander of this channel. I don't have a crypto, but yeah, he was barking in the back. But okay, Bofa, homie. Okay, so those who hated Pa Kent saying maybe because it's not lore accurate are now glazing the L's, saying conquer those backwater peasants and spread your seed, even though it's not lore accurate. I am so confused.
This is a very interesting point. And we will revisit this in the next couple of days when we discuss, because this film definitively gives us an answer to another big point of contention that's been just reverberating through YouTube for the past 2 years. Is James Gunn a comic accurate director? We apparently what is comic accurate? But this point here is people didn't like that Jonathan Kent in Man of Steel, when asked about in a conversation with his son with Superman, saying, should I have let them die? And he says, without really any assurance, he doesn't know. He says maybe. He doesn't know. He's not a perfect person. He doesn't know the significance of what Superman, who Clark will go on to be, will mean for the world. He doesn't know if the world's ready for Superman. He clearly has doubts whether or not Clark is ready to be Superman, because he's talking to a teenage boy at best. And so he's got doubt. He's a parrot with doubts because he's not perfect. People said, hell no, fuck that, not my Jonathan Kent. He would never do that. And yet, you have in this new film by James Gunn, and people pointed to all the comics that he would never say that, but it was an adaptation. Okay, in this adaptation, and Superman is an adaptation, and some leniency I think should be given to adaptations because they're not just the source material. But Jor-El tells Clark, Superman that his goal is to go and conquer Earth and to breed and multiply with the women of Earth and to be merciless.
And to obtain a harem.
Yeah. And
that anyone who gets in his way, he should take out.
Yeah. To be merciless in his ruling.
Yep.
And you again see this thing where the very people that said, oh my gosh, Zack Snyder ruined my childhood because Pa Kent would never do that, are now distinctly silent. And again, not all. And this is why I am so, outside of just the fact that I love film, I love seeing film, I love watching and discussing films. I love watching and discussing films that I may even not like. But with Superman, this is an important moment because you're getting to see who has integrity. Because go now and watch the YouTubers who didn't like the stuff with Man of Steel, and the ones that are saying, I didn't like this, have integrity. The ones that are saying, I didn't like Man of Steel, I didn't like what Zack Snyder did with Jonathan Kent, and the ones that are saying, and by the way, I fucking hate what James Gunn did with Jor-El, those people, at least have integrity. That the things they say are true all the time, not just when it fits the conclusion they want to reach.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is a wonderful moment because there is an enormous amount of question about how honest and how, like, what place does YouTube play in movies? Like, is it just becoming the next Rotten Tomatoes, a thing that we all know can pretty easily be, bought and sold? It's a way of marketing. Is YouTube just supposed to be people talking just so they can gain enough of their audience, of their chat's interest and attention to then sell them a dubious product in the future? Or is it a place where we're just honest? Is it just like public access where it's just people who come on? That's what I want to do. I just want to be a public access where you can hear many, many different takes, many different opinions.
Exactly.
But you're seeing the hesitancy. You can tell by people who are afraid to talk about it. And you ask, why would you be afraid to talk about it? It's the
huge.
Major point of the film.
It's the turning point. Yeah. Like, it's very important.
Yeah.
And yet people are acting as if it doesn't have a bearing on the film. It's extremely important.
It is literally the catalyst for the entire film, is that Jor-El is evil.
Yeah.
And so
if
you have no problem with that, but by the way, if you had no problem with this, but you also had no problem with Jonathan Kent being evil, you also have integrity. If when you saw it, you're like, hey, dude, these are different comic runs, like as some of our friends say, they're like, dude, I want people to understand that these are different comic runs. Some are better, some are worse. Then I totally get it. Like, dude, it's fine. You didn't like Jonathan Kent, but again, it's fine because it's a different interpretation, but then that has to be extrapolated, because I wouldn't accept people who were fine with it before then drawing the line of, well, I like when there's an interpretation of lore here, but I don't like it here. Again, for people to have integrity, they have to, and again, you can like it, but you can't dismiss something creatively based on those things.
Welcome, Glimmercast. I almost said Glimmercat. Draconis, what's up? We got W Necron, a bunch of other people, iDog and George Kalusta. I probably butchered that. I probably apologize. Everyone else who's come in, welcome. We're going through the questions you guys have initially, and then we're going to get into more deep stuff that we personally had issues with.
Yeah. Let's go into the next question. And again, guys, this is going to be just all over the place. This is just a chance for us to talk with you guys, because I think most of our chat, from when I read your comments, and we read all the comments, like, we're so thankful that you guys leave so many comments that sometimes we can't directly answer them because, like at work, like we get in trouble.
There's time constraints.
Yeah. But we do read the comments. So whether or not we can directly respond to them, a lot of times y'all's comments lead to the videos we make, whether it's answering a question or just noticing the patterns of the things you guys are noticing. So yeah, please keep putting your thoughts in.
Yeah. Elijah City said Super Beta Man is definitely silly as fuck. So
let's frame that.
Yep.
Another point of contention is, what level of James Gunn humor would make it into this Superman film? And nobody could agree. If you know James Gunn, if you are an actual fan of James Gunn, you should, in my opinion, through just basic pattern recognition, have assumed there'd be a decent amount of humor, because everything he's ever done has had an insane amount of humor.
Like every single project. There's not a single project he's ever made that it doesn't have tons of humor. So thinking there wouldn't be a bunch of humor in here is absurd. And even with them saying they took a lot of it out, oh my God, I can't even imagine if they hadn't done that, because there still is a lot of humor.
Yeah.
I do want to address the Super Beta Man part, because yes. Now, when you're coming into this film,
I'll be right back.
You're thinking you're going to be seeing Superman. And unfortunately, throughout the entire film, Superman is getting his ass kicked. And it was aggressive. Like, I could even understand. So I can grasp the idea that James Gunn wanted to make Superman more relatable, less ultra powered. It would make sense for him to lose like one of the fights. But for him to constantly just suck and then have to be bailed out of every scene by someone else, it's just ridiculous. I don't understand. And the perfect summation of it would be at the very end, Supergirl calls Superman a bitch. And that's what he was throughout the entire film. A fucking bitch. And I don't understand, one, why you would add that into the film, but it seems like that's the thought process that was going into this when he made it. And that's how I personally feel, clearly. Like, I feel like going into this, he already had the idea that he just thought Superman was bitch. So that's what you got on screen. You good? Yeah. Yeah. All the men on camera cried.
Oh, what did I miss?
I said so what Andy missed was that what I was saying of Superman. I feel like the ending scene where Supergirl calls Superman a bitch is just the culmination of how I felt James Gunn felt about Superman, because he's a bitch. That's how he's portrayed on screen. There's not a single. There might be one single time, but it's not a fight. Yeah. There's not a single fight Superman wins on his own, by the way. It's not a fight. There's certain scenes where he grabs buildings on his own, but he's bailed out of every single fight by someone or something.
And yes, then Dracona says late to the party, but I get the impression it was Matt for you too. On the low side of Matt,
yeah,
I think Matt, as in if we drastically lower the standards of film, and which is another thing I'm seeing all over the place is now that. So people that came out and said that James Gunn's great, he never misses, are now defending this film by saying, what did you expect? That it was going to be intelligent?
Yeah, that was going to be a Scorsese film?
Yeah, what did you expect? That it was going to be art? That it was going to be high level? Dude, it's just a stupid superhero film, which is, by the way, what James Gunn said. James Gunn thinks that superhero films are stupid. You can tell. He thinks that the value of a superhero film is a vehicle for silliness, which again, I'm not even criticizing, but it is a pattern. You look at Guardians, you look at this, you look at Suicide Squad. His interest is clearly, how can I make jokes using this character? In this, I think he tried to show restraint, but he couldn't help himself. I think that this is...
Well, it comes through. Even if that's his restraint, you can tell that Superman gets the least amount of time, by the way. Like, the film... for Superman?
Well, don't say least, because you will have people being pedantic. You will have people who then will argue he was not the sole focus of the film, which was another thing with Superman when James Gunn was announced that we said, well, James Gunn only really is able to make ensemble films. That's a justifiable concern, by the way. When a director's habit is that he does very well with ensemble films, and that is a direct praise of Guardians. He did very well with that. But has never really seemed to be able to make a film about a singular character. It's totally justified. It does not make you a hater to question whether or not they are capable of making a solo film. And then when you saw the entire stacked cast and all the characters, the natural conclusion is the director who's not known for being able to make single character films, the ensemble director, is making an ensemble film. That was challenged. Very, very dishonestly, by the way.
Yeah.
People saying it's debunked because James Gunn wouldn't do that, as though they live as a entity in James Gunn's mind, that they could see his intention. And we said from day one, this film was hyped up by people who wanted it to be the thing they wanted, who may not even like James Gunn as a director, but they hated the last thing so much. They took to the internet to propagate the narrative that whatever I wanted it to be, whatever I hated about the last thing, it was going to be the opposite. And actually, to this film's detriment, that's actually quite true.
Yeah, it's an overcorrection.
Yeah.
It's too far in the opposite direction. Because, iDog says you could tell he likes Mr. Terrific more than Superman, because Mr. Terrific is actually great in this film.
You could tell, again, and this is where I do wonder if reading comprehension is a problem, because you have no way of knowing anything about someone in the comments of Twitter, right? You don't know. They could be anybody. They might be illiterate. They might be someone who the only way that they're able to interact is by using voice to text on their phone. You wouldn't know. They could be a bot. They could be anything. And when you read articles and the director is very clearly expressing, if you just like read into what they're saying, that they don't have a big interest in Superman. They've never really been that interested in Superman. They've had doubts of whether or not they can tell a story about Superman, but they really, really are excited for Mr. Terrific. Again, the natural conclusion is like, oh, his way into this film is through the other characters, because he doesn't see value in Superman. He just cares about these other characters, and Superman is going to be a vehicle. Now, whether or not that turned out to be true or not, and by the way, it is true.
Yes.
That's another thing that we said that was proven true with this film. Just the conversation was worthy of merit. And again, very suspiciously, it wasn't discussed. To discuss it was heresy.
Oh my God. So yeah, I actually want to touch on this quickly. He said those people raised Clark. Okay. Yeah. Clark's parents. From the jump, okay, you guys, I'm gonna give some clarification because this might not be for everybody. It was insulting, the accent, for me personally, because I'm from the Midwest, and it's a comical exaggeration to the point where, like, bro, if you talk like that, you're considered extremely low IQ. Like,
yeah, there's a stigma to that.
To be
whether
almost
or not,
unintelligible, like,
they needed subtitles. You know, I'll be honest. As someone who, you know, I'm not from America. Like, I actually had to turn to my friend, and he had to tell me what they were saying. I couldn't understand that he was saying burrito.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Dude, I'm from this too, Midwest too. No one
talks like that.
No one talks.
But
like
by
that.
the way,
and if you do, you have to be from a place that is very poor, where like there's not like
it is a cartoonish, and in a. By the way, take that cartoonish portrayal of Midwestern people, and then flip that to a equally cartoonish, equally stereotypical display of Latino, like Mexican people. How do you think that would be received? Or if it was Black people, how do you think that would be received?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Bro,
they were speaking the equivalent of like white people jive, like redneck jive.
It was bad.
And again, people will say it doesn't matter because James Gunn said it's like the people he grew up with. And then you're like, okay, so he hates where he came from.
Yeah.
Because it's not only are they barely in it, they are a passing moment to tell you how you should feel.
Yeah. In this, bro.
It's I don't think
Barreda. Yeah. Bro, I can't even get it. Like, oh Lord have mercy.
Yeah. But yeah, you would ask yourself, how could Clark grow up around those two and not have an equally thick accent?
Yeah.
Except it doesn't matter, right? Because that's another thing that we just keep doing, right? Anytime something doesn't make sense, you're thinking too deeply. It's like, okay, so if a film demands of you to not think deeply, then it's a surface level or a dumb film. Like, it's just dumb fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, I went and watched Godzilla X Kong. It's just dumb fun, right? People have no problem with that. If I say this Superman film is just dumb fun, they get angry. And I would argue that that's what they're trying to be. I would argue that, by the way, given the shape of what the box offices are doing, like globally, the dumber the film, the better. Nobody thinks Minecraft is a good film. It's not trying to be a smart film. It's a series of Easter eggs, one moment to the next. It's easily digestible, and it made a lot of money. For what they do, Godzilla films and Transformer films make a lot of money because they're just big, dumb spectacle films that are a lot of fun. Good. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean.
But it does make them good.
Yeah, it doesn't make it good. Like, if this film makes money, people are going to use that as an excuse to say it's good.
Which is not the same.
Yeah. We see films all the time make a lot of money that are not good.
And we see a lot of great films make no money. So,
Giant Robot said, or no, I don't know why I'm going to keep saying robot. Giant Robo. What do you think of Ultraman being killed? Superman stating he kills as a last resort.
There's so many things. So
there's so many layers to that.
So yeah, right off the bat, I don't have a problem with it because I didn't have a problem with Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel because I have integrity. I did have a problem with it then. I don't have a problem with it now. I do have a problem with hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with the people that said Superman as a last resort killing Zod. That
was wrong.
No. It wasn't that it was wrong.
Yeah.
It was awful. It ruined Superman.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a travesty.
It wasn't that it was wrong.
It was a travesty.
It ruined the entire film for them. And so, by that logic, Superman yeets Ultraman into a black hole. And before anybody starts saying comic books and in comic books, sometimes black holes don't mean death. Yeah, we all know that. We all know the trope of like, oh, you go to a black hole and you're fine. They find you later. The point is, one, this is being argued from the perspective of general audiences that you don't need to know about comic books. And in modern understanding, going into a black hole will be death, correct? We know that from like Interstellar. And just if you ask someone, hey, what do you think happens to you if you go in a black hole? Not good, right?
No.
But can I make the second point?
Yeah, please yes.
But in this actual film, Superman is about to be sucked into a black hole and says, oh no, if we go in there, we won't be able to get out and we will die. This is the equivalent of him throwing him onto a bed of spikes. In his perception, throwing the clone Superman, Ultraman, into this black hole will kill him. Not only does he do it, he shows zero remorse. Less remorse. Like, it's not even less remorse. There's zero remorse.
They make a joke right after.
In Man of Steel, when Clark kills Zod, he's devastated at the weight of his action. At this, yes, as Katie says, they literally make a joke.
Yeah.
It is a setup
right after
for a joke.
It says, stop messing around. He's like, trying to do important stuff.
Yeah. And that kind of tells you what I think broke the discourse around comics is when Man of Steel came out, for some reason, we started having this debate on what an adaptation is. And from day one, there's an enormous amount of dishonesty because, clearly things like, oh, Batman shouldn't kill. Batman's killed in almost every single iteration that you've seen on screen. Michael Keaton's Batman killed. Okay. Superman shouldn't kill. What do you think? What do you think that Christopher Reeve did in Superman when he threw Zod down? When he breaks his hand, crushes his hand, and throws him to his death? Do you think he's fine? Did he care? No, because you've seen Superman kill. When you said that I should never see Superman kill, you were lying, or you weren't actually aware. And I don't know which is worse. Like, chat, weigh in. What is worse? Lying because there's an emotional stake that you want to gain something, or speaking without knowing because you want to participate in hate? I actually think the latter. I think that I think Man of Steel drew out a lot of people, the worst. We always talk about the toxic internet. I actually think that there is a toxic side of the internet, but they're not fans. They're people who are journeymen who go from one thing to the next looking to express hate. It doesn't matter what the topic is. And when Man of Steel came out, Superman became a thing that you were told that there was a justifiable hate, that you were like, we would allow it. And to some people, the hope of being able to openly hate something is a very enticing thing. And so that's why you see so many people just talk and you start asking the questions. There's no depth to their answers. It's just, oh, well, I hate it because, everybody says it's the worst, everybody. Okay, well, what part did you hate it? And they may not have even seen it, but they know that this is a way that they're allowed to express their hatred.
Yeah. Line Main Man for $5. Thank you, by the way. Says, I'm sick of the flashy movies with no substance. I want movies with substance. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I will say, we usually do like edited bumps, like silly clips. We probably aren't going to do those for this. We might do like a big one at the end, just because I don't think it sits, like, we're trying to get through so much topics.
There's so many questions you guys already have, and we haven't even gotten into the more, like, there's so many more things to touch on.
Yeah, but thank you so much. And I think that is a very fair criticism. This is a flashy film with no substance.
And multiple people make good points. Yeah. Superman killed Zod in 1978. Was there outrage?
Nope.
No.
Zero outrage.
Someone else referenced a comic.
But again, back to the point of the killing as a last resort. So the past over decades since Man of Steel came out, that was the reason that you were allowed to hate it. Superman kills. He's a murderer. And so he shouldn't, that Henry Cavill's interpretation was wrong. Zack Snyder's interpretation was wrong. Not different. Wrong. And therefore, you're allowed to hate people who like it, which we just touched on. And we have a promise when James Gunn came in that he's going to get Superman right because his Superman's not going to kill people. Not only is that false, He does. He does the thing that you said was going to make it better because he wouldn't do it. And the way they phrase it is not even as an absolute anymore. It's as a last resort. So they don't even commit to it yet. The very people who that was, and by the way,
wouldn't Zod also be the last resort? Like it wasn't like he went out of his way.
Zod was absolutely last resort.
That's what I'm saying.
It was absolutely the trolley dilemma of like, do you kill Zod, or do you let him kill the entire family?
Yeah.
And by the way, the entire world. He was going to kill the entire world. He was never going to stop. He says that in case you weren't listening. Now, I just do want to touch again. If you did stand to, I never want to see Superman kill. I don't like it, and you didn't like it when Christopher Reeve did it. You didn't like it when Man of Steel did it, and you don't like it when they do it in this film. Then you, my friend, also have integrity. Your opinion, again, all opinions are fine, but yours is more valid because it's backed by integrity. Because you actually thought it through, and you're not just regurgitating a talking point.
Or flip-flopping, depending on how you felt that day.
Or being hypocritical.
Yeah.
Can we agree that you shouldn't be hypocritical? That is a thing that we don't think is a good...
acceptable. It's not acceptable.
It's not an acceptable thing in our culture, right?
Yeah. Tech Nation says, I think he saw Ultraman as a soulless, mindless clone, even though I think the black hole will become I'm assuming
he's going to turn him into Bizarro. I've heard that debate. Yeah. But we don't see that on screen, by the way. This is a film that tells you literally everything that's happening.
But someone else made a good point afterwards. But he wanted to spare the kaiju.
Yeah.
So
he thought that the kaiju and he showed more remorse on the death of the kaiju. And by the way, he wasn't soulless. He was just dumb.
Yeah.
Like Lex says that. Lex, like, he's even dumber than you are.
A person.
You see him have some agency. He's still a living being. This is a Superman, by the way, who went out of his way to save a squirrel. Do you still think that this clone has...
So now the clone has less value than a squirrel?
If that's the mental gymnastics we have to jump through, then by the way, what happens if he does become Bizarro? Do you see what I'm saying? If retroactively they try to solve this by making him Bizarro, and Bizarro has agency, he's sentient, correct? Then guess what? When Superman killed him,
and had no remorse.
He didn't care about a character that would go on that we then will find out did have feelings, did have emotions, did have value. But again, that's what this film tends to do. It tends to say this Superman loves people so much he doesn't want people to die.
But then show something different.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the dialogue and what you're seeing on screen oftentimes do not match up.
Yeah. There's people that will announce things. And it's almost like this film was made directly based on the comment section. And so every single time they show something on screen, they're trying to protect themselves of anything that might be said on like in the comments.
Yeah.
So you see a building fall over in this film and it looks like people dying. Don't worry, because in the film they're like, good thing that entire building was evacuated just moments ago.
Or you see laser vision go through a building and then
everybody stands up and they're all fine.
And then Superman's like, you guys good? He's like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
No way it hit anybody.
Yeah. By the way,
what?
To the point where in this film, in their attempt to protect people from getting upset that there might be stakes that people might die, you actually make Superman unnecessary. Because though, yes, Superman saves some people, the plot saves other people. Like Ultraman, after being told by Lex Luthor that essentially it's a shame that more people didn't die, because like Lex Luthor is so comically evil, he just wants innocent people to die, even though that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for his false flag. It wouldn't be necessary. He's not there to create an enormous amount of human catastrophe. He's there to make Superman look bad. So having more people die wouldn't help make Superman look bad. If anything, it would make Superman more necessary. But he tells Ultraman, seriously, have at him. Ultraman sees people in this office building and he lasers above them so that they can all duck down and they're all fine. Whether or not Superman is in that scene or not, those people don't die.
Yeah.
We live in a world where there's not that much of a threat to people.
Separate from that,
all.
Yeah, the kaiju. The kaiju's in the middle of the city. All these people, by the way, aren't running away, aren't screaming, aren't freaking out that there's this massive monster in the middle of the city. No. They're just standing around. And then you already have the Justice League Justice Gang there as well. So they would have been fine, because it doesn't take Superman to say, hey, we need to evacuate this area. These people need to get out of here. No, it takes Guy saying,
Gardner has to be the one to tell people, hey, maybe get out of the street, guys.
Yeah, get out of the way. And they still don't leave.
Which I think is a weird moment that Superman didn't say it. I don't care because, dude, the film's not, but it's a weird thing knowing the discourse around Superman that, because that's what I heard people say in discussing Man of Steel, that they wished he had asked people to get out of the street.
City. Yeah, get out of the way.
Out of the city.
Yeah.
And this one didn't do it either, but nobody's complaining, being like, man, again, I think a fair nitpick, and it will be a nitpick, but again, we nitpicked Man of Steel. A fair nitpick would have been like, yeah, I like that people didn't die, but I wish it had been Superman who would tell people, hey, get to safety, not Guy Gardner. You know, I think that would be a consistent level of nitpicking.
Even though these idiots then still didn't.
But you missed the other big thing. The kaiju blows flames into the building that Superman's blocking. The flames go into the building. People are scorched, but they're fine. They're fine.
Then Superman takes a water tower and throws it at the kaiju. There's a bunch of debris. It goes past these people, yet everyone's fine.
A man is standing next to a glass window eating an ice cream. The window shatters, and again, I know it's a comic. It's not real life, but he is cut by the glass, but not enough to be in danger, and he's fine. So the entire thing keeps showing you that everybody's going to be fine.
They're good.
Because this is made for people who are so afraid that someone might die.
There might be collateral damage.
That there might be collateral damage, because they know that the comments would melt down because people say, well, Superman's supposed to save people. And then there is one moment when someone does die, and it's very cheap. It's an incredible cheap way to try and create a false sense of stakes.
Yeah. Daniel Larison, thank you so much for the 5 whole on DualShock memberships, as well as Draconis. Y'all are amazing. Love you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. We'll definitely play a clip for everybody at the end.
And again, if we're going too deep into the topic, guys, let us know. We're working through it, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. So at this point, David said, he says, I'm sorry, I don't care what no one says. Had Snyder made that decision with Jor-El, there would have been riots in the streets.
100%. So let's talk about the hypocrisy that has been on display. And again, everybody is free to feel however you want, but that's the problem. People don't say, I just didn't especially like it. It has to be justified with this attempt of validity, this authority from either the comic or like public consensus. Like, well, I'm not the only one. A lot of people feel that, Man of Steel is the worst Superman. Everybody hates that film. And it's a weak place to argue from because, again, if you know anything about logic, public consensus does not equate to truth. And again, a lot of people, the genius of the crowd, great poem, but go look that up. Often the crowd is quite stupid. And don't sacrifice your individual thought to be part of a mob. And David's absolutely right. If you had Jor-El be evil in Man of Steel, I don't even know, the cultural backlash would have been actually impressive to see. Like, it's almost a shame that we didn't see it because we all think that essentially there couldn't have been more vitriol and hate towards Man of Steel than there already was, but there could have been. Like, if they had also made Jor-El bad, it would have been, if instead of Jor-El saying, you can save them, Kal-El, you can save them all, if he had said, I'm not going to say the meme that's going around, but if he had just been like, you can conquer them all, people would have lost their mind. They would have said, how dare Zack Snyder take such a noble, selfless character and turn him into a villain? He doesn't understand these comics. That's cheap. That's awful. I don't want to see that. And by the way, I've seen a level of cope applied to this film, a level of headcanoning.
Yeah.
It's from before the film ever came out. From the first quote from James Gunn that people didn't like, there's been an attempt to headcanon it, that it's all going to be fine. And I've seen people say, in order to accept the Jor-El thing, I need to know, I just tell myself that in the future, they're going to fix it. But they didn't. They didn't in this film. That is an unreasonable way. If I said that I believe the reason Jonathan Kent says maybe you shouldn't have saved people is because off camera, he finished in front of people. That the rest of that conversation, I need to believe that Jonathan Kent says, maybe you shouldn't save people. And he's talking because they've had lots of conversations about how with people seeing. And that's how I headcanon. You'd be like, that's so stupid. That's not what's shown in the scene. The scene clearly intends for us to have the conversation about, will Superman's existence do more damage publicly? And is Superman ready?
Mm-hmm.
That's not so. Again, the intent of this scene, and again, if we go on and they in the next film bail out that it was a corrupted message, it was misinterpreted. One, it'll be very weird because Mr. Terrific straight up says, he goes,
it wasn't,
jarringly says, no, I know these decoder types,
yeah.
these analysts, they wouldn't get it wrong. You know,
Yeah.
they would, they know
they're always right.
We're told that, nope, that is correct. Superman accepts it. Superman rejects his Kryptonian heritage based on this knowledge. If you now retcon and say, oh, people didn't like that, actually the Kryptonians are great, you actually do more damage than good, because you have a Superman who didn't defend his heritage. You have,
or look deeper into it.
Mr. Terrific being stupid and wrong. And again, it's just cheap. It's the cheapest way of moving the plot along. But again, that scene is a direct response to people didn't like, again, nitpicking Man of Steel, that I'm going to say again and again and again. Like, by the way, every time I say again, Katie doesn't like it, so she flips
He's
out.
saying it so many times. Good.
Yeah, I'm trying to make this causal, because a lot of times when we talk, people will be like, that's not what that means. People didn't like that Clark says to Martha Kent, I found my people. Okay. We gave that scene no latitude. That was him rejecting the Kents, even though he immediately is like, no, you're my mother. He's told his father, you know, we know that he loves the Kents. He says, can't I keep pretending to be your son? And Jonathan Kent says, you're not pretending, you are my son. That's a beautiful moment, by the way. Mm-hmm. So we know that that's not how he feels. He's just an orphan who's been adopted, who loves his adopted parents, who also wants to know where he comes from. But we can't have any humanity. We pretend like that's not a thing that, again, I have adopted relatives. They all want to know where they came from. Like, but in order to vilify Henry Cavill, we have to be like, no orphan ever would give a fuck about who their birth parents are.
Yeah.
Which is like a level of absurdity. So this scene, it felt like people disingenuinely said, Superman should be human. And the way we're going to do that is by having him choose to be human in this, but he actually doesn't choose. He must excommunicate, he must separate from his family, because they're criminals. They're war criminals. They're awful. They're evil people. He doesn't make a choice. The choice is made for him. He doesn't choose humanity in this. He's left with nowhere to go but to be human. He doesn't choose not to be of two worlds. He is forcibly removed from one of them. And people will say that, but that's fine. That's good storytelling. No, it's not. It's cheap. It's lazy. And it's an overcorrection from something that never should have been entertained in the first place, because the only people that had a problem with that scene in the first film are people who are, I don't want to be mean, but are too dumb to understand what the scene's saying. And I don't like falling into the media literacy crowd, because that is so often used by people who can't make arguments. But I'm telling you why. If you can't understand that that scene is clearly about an orphan wanting to know where he came from, because he is different, by the way. Did you not notice that Superman isn't like the rest of us?
He's not human.
I woke up, the way I knew that was I woke up one day and I couldn't fly. And that was my first clue that maybe Superman's not like us. And I started to think through a sense of empathy that, and just putting myself in someone else's shoes, if I woke up and I could fly, I might ask, why am I different from them? That's not a rejection of humanity. I would just like, if I was in a family and I was a foot taller than everybody, I would ask, hey, why am I taller than everybody? Completely innocent question.
Glimmercast, great, point. I don't like how a lot of criticism is written off as it's a kid's movie. It's not real. It's still worthwhile to discuss.
Let's try and always preface these so people watch them back, that they can understand. So let's preface this film with, is this a kid's film?
Yes. Because personally, objectively, I would say no, because someone dies, like someone gets shot, and I wouldn't say that would be a kid's film, on top of the fact that you have an insane amount of cursing throughout the entire film. It's not like a one-off. It's not like someone says just super shit to get the hashtag once. We get people saying shit, bitch, like multiple times, all the time. You have guy doing the flipping off the bird multiple times. It wasn't a one-time thing. It was
objectively in like, so basically you will have people who will use the cop out of, oh, this is for kids. But if I were to dismiss this film a month ago saying, oh, it's going to be a kid's film, it's going to be a silly kid's film, people would have been like, bro, shut the fuck up. No, it's not. You're a hater. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Something that was not true a week ago is now true because it suits the narrative.
Yeah.
People are in this comments just tearing me apart, reminding me I'm not Superman. But let's not go
Nadia.
that far.
Nadia.
Let's not go that far.
What's up, Nadia? Yeah, lazy, cheap. You rang? What?
James, quick and easy gun.
Dr. J said I saw so many delusional YouTubers who literally believe that this Superman film is going to fly in and rescue them and their ideology.
100%. And again, we're going to talk about that. Save that comment because we're going to get into what's going on. That, I mean, dude, we're going to get into what Superman appears to be a surrogate for later on in this video because it's wild.
Thank you, Dan Yeager, because I also see some people in the chat for some reason referencing the Rotten Tomato scores as if that has any bearing on the breakdown of this film.
Yeah.
Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons is the highest rated Superman movie of all time with a 100% Rotten Tomato meter. Does that make it the best movie of all time?
There's so many films with, by the way, and thank you, Dan Yeager, for pointing that out. I made the point that this Superman film was divisive. And people are like, oh, divisive? If it's divisive, why does everybody love it? It's got a 90% audience score. And at the time, they were very proud that it had like a 90% critic score. That's plummeted. It's at 82 or something, 83 now. And by the way, if you go to the
all critics,
the top critics, the ones that we are told have a better read on film than just the generic sloppy all critics, they have it in the 70s. Okay. Which again, doesn't make it a bad film, but it means that one, it's not the unanimous praise that people would suggest it is. And two, we just had a film that had unanimous praise. Like two films, actually. Sinners and Thunderbolts, unanimous praise. Both are incredibly divisive. If I say this right now, people will say, yeah, but that was because Thunderbolts was shit, proving my point that it's divisive. And other people are like, but you're an idiot. It can't be shit. It's not divisive. It had a high Rotten Tomato score. Do you see how stupid that sounds? Like, that's the problem. And that's what passes for opinion these days is I can't argue on behalf of what I think because I don't think. I saw someone say something or I heard someone say something and I want to be on the side that I think is going to win. And I'm just going to take every shortcut to
make my point.
But you're not making a point. You're changing the point.
What's up, Nia?
What's up, Nia? We're raging against the dying of the light on the internet. Nia.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah. Robert said the only time people called for his help, he didn't even seem interested in going to help them. Luckily, the Just Gang could come through. And we're talking about Superman.
We can talk about the fact that this Superman has zero agency, which is a shame. Because if you wanted, by the way, I think there's room in this world to have a course correction from Man of Steel because I've never believed that you can only have one. I think you should have multiple interpretations. I think we can have multiple Batmans. I hate this idea of I want the canon one. That to me screams someone who doesn't actually like this shit and they're looking to fake the funk is a good friend of mine used to say. It's like there are people faking the funk, pretending to like Superman, but they want to be part of whatever is right and what is current. And so they're not interested in the idea that, hey, liking Superman means that you might need to go watch a shit ton of stuff. You might watch the Elseworlds. You might watch, Red Sun. You might read, what happened, to Truth, Justice in America. You might, read All-Star Superman. Like, there's so many different, or what's so funny about Truth, Justice in America? I'm getting them all mixed up. But I'm saying there's a lot of different interpretations. There's a lot of different on-screen interpretations.
Yeah.
And yet, people don't want that. They want the right one. And they'll say, oh, comic accurate. It's like, well, which comic? And they stare back at you vacantly. Do you think that helps your case? Do you think that when someone asks you, okay, which comic? And that's why I don't sit there, dude. I have friends of mine who are way more into the comics. They can tell you the specific comic. Like, I'm not that level of comic fan.
Well, I also argue the point.
Some of the comics. There's like 500 Superman comics,
I also argue the point that just because it's in a comic doesn't mean it's good enough to be in the film. Yeah. Like, there's some weird shit people did in the comics. I don't think everything that goes into the film needs to be like, oh, well, it's in a comic. Okay, well, that doesn't justify me wanting to see it on screen.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel Larson. A Red Sun adaptation would be amazing. And people say, oh, we've already had The Boys and Homelander. It'd be better, by the way. The Red Sun story, dude, the ending of Red Sun, and again, you will only know this if you've read the comic. Dude, when you find out why he's named Kal-El, that is a fun little, like, blow your mind thing,
Bro, this is funny. So Supergirl is sent to Earth to do what with men?
Arguably, right? By the way, this is again.
Wait, bro, what?
She's here to breed with the men of Earth. Supergirl will, like a Viltrumite, take men against their will. the mind is willing, but the body is fatigued.
Oh my God! Please stop.
Supergirl took me into her harem and used me for glop glop until I could no longer glop any longer. Till my pelvis was putting.
Please.
No, no.
Stop.
But again, that's fine, right? Like that's fine. By the way, have fun explaining what a harem is.
Yes. But it's separate from that. Supergirl. I don't like how she's introduced into this film because she is ridiculous. It also doesn't really make any sense. So Superman explains.
Don't say it doesn't make sense because again, that just invites idiots to be like, "Oh, she doesn't get it."
I'm about to explain what doesn't make sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is that she's drunk on Earth.
Okay, yeah.
Yet once she gets on Earth, shouldn't she no longer be drunk?
So what she's referencing is in this film, she shows up like a drunken sorority girl, and they, through again exposition.
Yes.
They don't need to tell you this, but they do because they clearly were aware that a contingent of the comic fans would be like, "Oh well, dude, she shouldn't be drunk, like, you know, with her Kryptonian heritage." Like there would be someone arguing that shouldn't be drunk. So they say, "Oh, she goes onto a planet with red suns because that nerfs, you know, and takes away their power." So, and Superman says this, by the way, it's not subtle, bro. Like he says, we can only get drunk on red planets because our the yellow sun stops us from getting drunk. It's very heavy-handed.
And he's like, she goes from red sun planet to red sun planet to get drunk and party.
But by the way, it feels like a frequently asked questions section. It feels like a lot of this part of this film is the facts part of a website where they're like, how is it that Kryptonians can get drunk? And it's like, oh, well, let's just act out a scene, like an improv scene where or just an exposition scene of them explaining how that will happen. I don't think it makes for an amazing film, but it's a choice.
It doesn't make for an amazing character introduction.
But even in that internal logic, she's on a planet now with a yellow sun, and she's still drunk. Now, again, people will be like, well, she won't be drunk much longer, blah, blah, blah. She's hung up. It's just unnecessary. And again, that's not even getting into the thing of, do you really think that the arc of, because that's gonna be the thing, is, oh, it's a character arc of drunken, just a mess. She's just sloppy. A mess. But again, if that's what we want to do, okay, cool. I don't really want to hear about other characters in comics like, oh, I don't want to see them as like not perfect, you know. And again, as she walks out the door, she says, "Thanks for watching my dog,
bitch."
To Superman. But again, this film, everybody respects Superman. That was another thing. We were told
no one respects Superman.
Hey, I really just again a little insight into James Gunn and the way he writes. We said, man, I hope James Gunn doesn't do that thing where to try and humanize his main character, everybody just kind of dogpiles him, and you're like, oh, you feel sorry for him. I hope he doesn't do that thing. And they're like, he's not gonna do that. He would never do that. He loves Superman too much, but he does do that. At some point, every character in this film rolls their eyes at Superman, the nature of Superman, and his values, and the crescendo, the outro moment, what they want to leave you with is him being called a bitch. But don't you dare say that people don't respect Superman in this film. Yeah. Because again, we live in this world of two realities. One where everybody treating Superman like a bitch, seeing Superman kind of, you know, be called a bitch while he's, you know, acting. And by the way, him acting like a bitch, if you want to use just to continue using that term, it is actually part of a film. It is part of Superman. He is put in situations where he bitches out and he acts like a bitch and his emotions are not in check. And that is the catalyst that Lex uses to help the government be like, yeah, like Superman might not be good. He's acting out. He's being a little bit of a bitch. We might need to get, you know, even the Justice Gang is like, yeah, I don't know. We like Superman, but the risk is too great. You know, like we gotta pull this guy in, you know, maybe he should turn himself in like that. That's part of it. And it ends with Supergirl, the next film, calling him a bitch. But if you, the audience, call this Superman a bitch, you're a jerk. Yeah. James Gunn says you're a jerk because you just.
Plus, but I think it's wrong. Like, what are you like? Why would that be there?
He's joking.
Yeah, I'm like, no, thing. Like, I really just like. I think it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but again, I don't have a problem with it. But again, I've watched over a decade of people losing their minds on every honest little thing.
Oh, let's touch this. Yeah. Kryptonian dogs don't behave like normal dogs. They tend to be smarter.
Yeah. Can we put a point in that? Yeah. Sean O'Rourke wrote about that I literally saw your review last night, dude. Yeah, I'd love to have you on. He made great points, by the way, very similar to what we're talking about. I'm assuming he came out of the film and was just like, okay. And you're hit with multiple facets of what this film is. It's this film. It's the decade of hypocrisy. It's watching people that you want to discuss it, by the way. Like, I don't need to like this film to be excited to talk about it, but I see people who aren't excited to talk about it. They want to anoint it as the winner.
Yes.
But yeah, Sean O'Rourke, hit us up. I don't know if you have us on Twitter. I'd love to talk to you about this because I want to talk to more people. Another guy who, dude, one of the most honest reviews I've seen. I hate to say that because we actually just made a joke about how like a lot of dishonest people put up my honest review, but his was a very honest review. Go check it out. It was really good. Yeah. You can bring this back up.
Yeah. So touching on crypto. So crypto is a point of contention just because, yes, I understand people love dogs. Okay. He's clearly there because people love dogs. In the beginning, he's cute sometimes. I was saying, like, crypto overall is not a bad thing.
Nope.
He's
cute.
He's funny at times. Yeah. He's annoying at other times and ruins scenes.
By the way, he's supposed to be. If you find him annoying, you read the scene correctly. Again, we're going to talk about that a lot. A lot of people who will mindlessly defend, and I'm sure there will be people who mindlessly attack this film, but this is the type of film that it's going to be very hard to separate unfair ridicule from like fair ridicule because so much of this film is ridiculous and it invites ridicule. But with crypto, you're supposed to view him as annoying because he actively ruins shit and annoys and makes Superman's life harder. By the way, there's this amazing moment, and this is where you get into, do you believe James Gunn is a genius, the greatest director, or is he a guy who throws some stuff on screen and just kind of says, let's see how it fucking plays out? Because the goal, and he said this, is you're supposed to look at crypto and they invite people to say, but that's just like my dog, correct?
Yes.
He's just like my dog. My dog's a terrible dog. It's just like my dog. Okay, fair enough. So we've got something that he wants the audience to engage with. So you become like, you're the owner of crypto becomes a surrogate for the audience, right? And so throughout the film, you think that that's going to be Superman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Superman has a dog. I have a dog. My dog's bad too. Oh, dude, Superman has the same problems as me. It's not Superman's dog. It's not. It's the drunken, sloppy Supergirl's dog. And how do they frame Supergirl? That she's a mess, and that if anybody cared about her, because the robot, Gary, 4 becomes Gary, says, if I cared more, if I had emotions, I'd actually be worried about her. And then Superman himself, what does he say, Katie?
I don't even remember.
Essentially that she's an unfit dog owner because she's got no boundaries, and this is why the dog acts up.
Yeah, so bad. So
in a moment,
and then right after that, he's like, but then he doesn't care about her. Like he moves on.
So what did James Gunn mean by this? So if he's a genius director, we should be able to infer from this that there's
a correlation,
a narrative about dog ownership, right?
Yeah, that if you guys have a dog like crypto, then you're unfit dog parents who are drunks who actually do not take care of your dogs because
your dog causes destruction. And by the way, cute crypto can't be left on the Kent's farm because he'll kill, not even eat. He will kill the cows just for sport.
Yeah. Because he's bad. And at no point does crypto listen to Superman at all.
So my point is, if James Gunn's a genius director, then you would assume that there's some meaning to this. Or is he a surface level director? And in which case it's fine, right? What's up, Bomager? That's our good friend Bomager. We were just on his stream. Go check it out. We were just talking about this. Bomager's got a much more civilized and nice stream. So, we were on our best behavior because we always want to be nice on Bomager's. Yes. Here we're the assholes that we are. But no. So with Supergirl as a unfit, like if James Gunn didn't intend that, if we're supposed to just gloss over it, then you're justified in saying that James Gunn's a surface level director, a director who you should not delve too deep into what he's saying because only madness lies there. There is no value. He has no control over the underlying story. They're just things on screen, which again, I am 100% fine with. I went into Godzilla X Kong and said, hey, this is a surface level film. There's no deeper meaning. And I had a good time. But if I say that about Superman, people get very angry.
And I love this point. Sean O'Rourke says, my dog can be like Krypto, but she actually listens to me. And I feel like that's the key point. At no point does Krypto listen to Superman. And people are going to argue that it's not his dog.
Doesn't matter. The initial point that sparked this was he's a Kryptonian dog. He should be smarter.
He should have high intelligence.
So through parts of this film, he's a dumb dog with no thought. At other times, when it suits the plot, he's a smart dog who can understand commands. And then he's a dumb dog again. Just even internally, and you'll see that a lot. If you actually look at this film from a writing perspective, a lot of characters' nature changes, their abilities change to suit the scene. That's not a great way to write stuff. And again, if you're just going to lob it into the realm of, well, it's a comic and things get wacky and wild in comics, 100%. But then it is a silly, wacky, don't take it too seriously. We just do whatever we want here.
Yeah.
And in which case, if it's fine to do whatever we want, then you now must retroactively say, I was wrong for criticizing other directors for doing whatever they want.
Yes. And yeah, Daniel Larson makes a really good point. Yeah, no one listens to Superman. No one respects him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the message throughout the film.
Yeah.
High Dog says Krypto's Superman's dog and the perfect pet in the comics. I guess Gunn hates comic books according to Snyder hater logic.
Yeah. And again, it keeps bringing up the saying of, if he's a comic accurate director, you either again, if there's levels to this comic accuracy, then you have to retroactively, again, you have to go back and apologize for critiquing other directors for taking liberties with the source material. But again, what has substituted intelligent debate on films, like on the quality of what they're trying to do, what the film sets up, has been this attempt to be like, I don't need to know what I like. I can hold up a panel from a comic and be like, it should do this. If not this, then not good. Not good equal bad. So bad film. You make bad film. Bad film, not this. You make not this, bad film. And again, I'm gonna get so much hate because I know there are a lot of people. Dude, that's what it's like. And again, okay, but they are comic adaptations. And again, as our friends who kind of get this have pointed out, there's different comic runs. They're in a comic. Each run is marked by the creator's intentions with the character, right? If we look at adaptations, there should be even more leeway. And again, if we want to live in a world of absolute, it must be comic accurate, then that's the standard. If we want to live in a world with free reign on adaptations and interpretations, that's fine too. But it has to apply equally. And if you don't, then you don't have integrity. Which
is what we kind of keep coming back to. Sean O'Rourke makes a point, says the writing's completely spoon-fed exposition. The robots tell the audience what Superman already knows. It's weird. It is extremely weird.
Yeah. Very weird. George hit that one from, yeah.
Yeah, it was weird having a very comic accurate Superman, but a very non-comics accurate Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Lex Luthor is cartoonish without being like the Lex Luthor from the cartoons. He is, do we want to even get into that?
What? Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Is this film political? Yes. Yes, it is. That's something we can't even agree on. And again, because there are very bad faith actors. We make jokes about this, and I think sometimes people don't realize when we're joking. When the Variety article came out, we were pointing out that James Gunn just has no awareness for how the things he says,
no restraint.
What he says and how it's going to be interpreted.
Yes.
Because he's kind of a surface level guy. He doesn't think things through now, does he? Again, there's a lot of evidence for that. That's not just from his films. It's just in his life. You look at the things that he'll put on the internet, you could argue that he doesn't think things through. Mm-hmm. And I know he doesn't think things through because he doesn't stand by them and say, hey, these were a good idea then. I stand by they're a good idea now. We have seen maybe the most famous moment in history of a human being acknowledging that they don't have a great read on what should and should not be said and what should and should not be put on the internet. But I digress.
Okay,
take it over.
So the war going on that I'm not even positive.
No, don't just jump in.
Okay.
My point is,
don't just jump in.
But we couldn't agree on that. We can't agree on that. And so the discourse surrounding it is political.
Yes.
And you have to turn your brain off to watch this because it's not a very smart film, but it does want to take a stab at politics. And I do think that what he said on Variety, I actually think that all of that was necessary, because I think this film will really struggle for cultural relevance. And the best thing that actually happens, and I've seen a lot of people saying, oh no, the way that this film is being talked about is going to hurt it. It's actually going to help it, because for every person who's saying that the American right wing is blowing this out of proportion, talking about the political stuff and the immigration was a weird thing. Immigration is not a part of this film. It was just, again, no. I think it was the comment that got it picked up in the zeitgeist.
Well,
right?
It's because it's what's relevant right now. The immigration thing isn't a key point. It's not a talking point. The war.
But I've seen people who, without seeing the film, are giving this 5 stars because they're like, wow, the prospect of a Superman film that criticizes Israel, that is openly anti-Israel, 5 stars. So that is there, by the way. That is there. This film, and again, with a child's level of intellect, attempts to break down what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. If you don't see it, like, I'm astounded. And I do want to talk to somebody who doesn't see it, because I thought it was very heavy-handed. It's very on the nose. The Hammer of Boravia speaks with like a kind of shitty Russian accent. There's a moment when Superman is talking, and I've heard a lot of people say that this film is for people who are not permanently online. I actually quite disagree. I think this film will be spoken and championed most by people who are terminally online.
Yes.
Because when Superman's talking to Lois about what he did breaking up this war and how he put his hands on the, let's just call him, he's the fucking leader of Russia, dude. And when he grabs him and put him on a cactus, and told him, if you put your hands on this country, you have to deal with me. It was just like every person on Twitter who's got a flag in their bio being like their fantasy, their power fantasy of how they, if they were Superman, would take out Putin. Which, by the way, at the end, Hawkgirl yeets fucking Putin. From it's pretty clear. Yeah. But again, don't notice that, right? It's totally not, and that's what they do with the film. They will allow people to champion it because it helps the film. But if you ask them, they're like, oh, we didn't mean anything specific by it. While at the same time, like kind of winking, like the winking too. And again, people talk about dog whistles. I mean, dude, it's like a dog whistle.
But this was the saddest part. Like, the saddest part of the film is when all the people are like championing for Superman, and like the kids are chanting like Superman. And it's not Superman who comes. And it's like this whole build up to get to this amazing thing where like, oh yeah, Superman's going to save these kids. Nope. It was just
It's Guy Gardner.
Yep.
It's to set up a joke so that Guy Gardner can be like, the big blue couldn't come.
Yeah,
you got someone better. No, he says you got someone better.
Yeah.
By the way, the scene of Guy Gardner flipping off the tanks, it's a cool scene. It's cool. If I had Guy Gardner's powers, I'd probably do something equally immature. Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny thing to do. Like middle fingers erupting from the ground, knocking over tanks. But again, in that scene, you have comically, like, not even like in the comics, but like it is distractingly, absurdly under-equipped people. I mean, they've got like sticks and like axes standing like NPCs. There are a lot of NPCs in this film, by the way.
Yes.
And maybe that's the true surrogate for the audience. I don't know. Standing in that repeat kind of just like this, the like waiting for the player to interact with them, just the repetitive waiting motion. Fighting people with tanks and guns. And as they're walking in, they're just standing there and they're doing this rhythmic, they look like the people from like a FIFA or a Madden game, the people in the stands that are just generically chanting like, it's just like a cycle. It's like, did they film this one time? Everybody is in unison doing the exact same thing. It looks like kind of like a poorly rendered video game or a bunch of NPCs that are just waiting to be interacted with, which whatever, cool, fine. But it felt small. It felt very, very small.
Josh said, are the Kryptonians portrayed as conquerors then? What do you think the impact will be for Supergirl's character?
Kryptonians are literally colonizers.
Yes.
He is not only here, he is a colonizer sent here to
take over,
by force.
Yeah.
So by force, if need be, mate with the women of Earth.
Yeah. And spread his seed.
Yeah.
And
What does that sound like?
Keep the line of Kryptonians alive.
Yeah. But again, is it political in the sense of like, oh, you know, this calls out Trump? No. But dude, it is, dude. Again, maybe that's the sweet spot for this film. People who will appreciate the very, very ham-fisted way that they try to reference geopolitical issues without the ability to see the humor of them trying to do that, and just not putting two and two together. So I feel like the perfect place is for people who are like, yeah, I just like the good guys are good and the bad guys are bad, and there's just nothing deeper. It's like, again, if you can go into this and be like, there's just nothing deeper, then you probably will have no notes. But again, I think a lot of people will notice, like, dude, and again, am I saying it's a bad thing? No, dude, make whatever film you want to make. But this film, again, simultaneously is being talked about is both political and it's apolitical. Both are correct. Neither is correct. Whatever helps the film make more money.
Yeah. Tara said, so where was the hero's journey or arc for Superman in this film? Because I couldn't see one. Because there wasn't one.
There's not one. You go ahead and take a stab at this.
No, there wasn't one.
Yeah.
You constantly just saw him be someone who loses. He loses over and over again. To drive home the point later on when he's having this whole big speech with Lex Luthor is that he, just like anyone else, I'm human. I wake up every day, put one foot in front of the other, and I fail sometimes. I fail, and yet I get right back up again and keep going.
A completely unearned scene. I don't understand people who are saying that they find that emotional.
Yeah.
It felt like a poorly scripted, it sounded like dialogue from like daytime TV.
Yeah.
I mean, there are CW shows with more convincing. I mean, dude, I love Smallville. I've watched Smallville through multiple times. I think Smallville had more sincerity than this by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to that. I know a scene of Tom Welling talking about, like, in Smallville when they talk about illegal immigration. Dude, that was kind of like the level of acting that at times was on display from David Cornsweet. And again, it's one of those things that it read like a one-man show. Like he's looking at Lex, but he's not talking to him. And I've noticed that a lot in especially in late stage Marvel, characters talking past one another. It's very but again, we're supposed to just say it doesn't matter because it's like a comic book panel. And my whole point is, yes, in comics, you will have odd dialogue to just set it up because it doesn't matter. It's a comic. You'll have people sitting there just exposition dumping what's going on in comics. Totally cool. This is an adaptation. And so if we were to say, oh, but it's like the comics, then it's not even the best at doing that because, dude, there are better projects that have ripped things. I mean, dude, look at Sin City. That, in such a more masterful way, you actually feel like you're in a comic. And this, you feel like you're in the fever dream of somebody who fell asleep in the tub with a comic on their face.
I do address this. Mage said that doesn't sound like a good movie then. Blah.
That's the difference between is it fun, is it good?
Yeah. Yes. So
but there is no character arc, by the way.
No, if I'm going based off of so if you actually grade this, and I want to clarify, I don't think anyone, by the way, is actually grading this film based off of is it a Superman film? Like as a Superman film, is this good? No. And
I saw T earlier in the chat before we were talking about this, essentially saying he had to essentially like give a lot of considerations. Like you have to lower the bar a lot for this film. And I think that that's very true.
But as
if you want to, I asked Badger, like, if I'm hell-bent on enjoying this film, how can I enjoy it? And he gave what was an amazing answer. He said, go in like low expectations. Treat it like a kid's film. Treat it like an Elseworld and just take it for what it is. All right. I did that. Yeah, I did that. And so was I upset? No, but
it's not good.
The discourse surrounding it is just not true. I see so many people who know it's not good giving positive reviews. And again, go check out Boneberger's video on it. It's filled with people giving horrendously denigrating reviews, certified fresh.
Yeah.
There's the one that I think he does a bunch of them, but I think the funniest one was somebody's like, the men would really rather reboot Superman than go to therapy.
Fresh.
Certified fresh. And you're like, okay, that's amazing. Yeah. It's a mid film.
No, and this is actually valid. Lois has more of a character arc.
Yep.
Than Superman. Mr. Terrific has more of a character arc than Superman.
Superman shows up from the opening crawl. And again, even in the opening crawl, you know that James Gunn's going to be, that sincerity is not in the cards. He's not that guy, dude. He's never been a sincere director. He continues not to be a sincere director. You may like what he did in Guardians, but it's not sincerity. It's superficial. He takes things that everybody can self-insert, like, oh, if my mom died, I'd be devastated. If I saw a furry, cute animal die, I'd be devastated. If my father figure died, I'd be devastated. And says just, again, just the definition of like self-insert, right? With this, the problem is they don't even have the time to do that. So they hit you with an opening crawl. They think they're being cute. It's like 300 years, and it's threes. So it's like, it's
Yes.
very, very clever, very cute. Ooh, extra points for the writing. He says 300 years ago, metahumans came to Earth. 3 years ago, the most powerful metahuman, Superman, emerged. And then it says 3 minutes ago, he lost his first battle.
30 seconds.
And there's a couple other threes in there.
Yeah,
it actually reminded me of the opening of Tropic Thunder, of like, like, what is it? Like 4 people wrote novels about what happened. 3 of those were, published. Of those 2 that were published, 2 were, licensed to make a film. 1 of those was made into a film. This is about the movie, about the people that tried to make that film. It felt like that. And it was like, yeah, that's cute.
Mr. Terrific had the best action sequence in a Superman film.
Yeah, by a lot. So Superman shows up. He loses a battle. He gets recharged by the sun. He loses the battle again. Then he goes to the Daily Planet. He shrugs off losing the battle. He fights with Lois Lane about his closeness to Superman and his journalist integrity, while at the same time being completely owned by her. Like, not a very good journalist. He seems a bit dim, to be honest. Didn't understand like there was being on the record, off the record, like a lot of things.
It was sad.
She's clearly
she was running the train on him.
Yeah,
it was like,
which is fine. Is a great moment to elevate Lois.
Yeah.
And then he loses some more battles, saves baby Joey.
Which, okay, I have to clarify.
Doesn't save the hot dog vendor, which is fine. Like, I didn't expect him to save the hot dog vendor. Before having society doubt him because he finds out that being Kryptonian is evil. Very black and white. That just, if you're from Krypton, you're evil. And then he, at the end of the film, after Lex has screamed about he's not human, he announces to us, but that's my strength, I am human. But up until this, he thought of himself as a being of 2 worlds, but we never saw him doubt his place in humanity. He just, by the way, if you had shown him doubting his place in humanity, all the same anger that was levied towards Man of Steel should have been levied towards this. Nothing was developed. And at the end, he's fine. Everything's fine. He doesn't grow. He doesn't develop. He's stationary. He's good. He's a nice guy who doesn't think you should kill if you can at all help it. He breaks that rule. He throws somebody into a black hole. He also acknowledges what he's about to do to Ultraman, because he says, like, sorry, big guy. But he doesn't grow. He doesn't change anything. He doesn't learn anything. It's kind of like what we critique with Captain Marvel. He was good all along. Yes. And people he had doubters and he had haters, just like in Captain Marvel, and he just needed to be affirmed. And so essentially, once he's affirmed that, no, he is great, he continues to be great. And again, people will sit there and they'll be like, Captain Marvel's a completely different thing. No, it's not. Story beats wise, you had a character who was all powerful and was good enough, didn't go through a journey, and get the secret was people doubted me all along. And we don't like that. We didn't like it. We don't like that it's taken over Marvel. I don't think you should like it in Superman.
Great point, George. How did Lex even know about the hot dog vendor and that would be someone Superman would personally care about?
Because he has cameras everywhere. And I know this because he says, I know because I have cameras everywhere, that this is the hot dog vendor that you talk to when you're fighting the Hammer of Barabia. And but they tell you. They tell you. Everything is told to you, which is amazing because you could not watch this film. You could listen to this film and you will know everything that's happening.
Yes.
Almost everything that's happening. It's so funny. I actually saw somebody who loves this film so much that they had time 20 minutes in to tweet that the narrative surrounding this film. They said 20 minutes in, and I just want to say the whole stuff about immigration is not true, which is funny because
the film being woke.
Yeah, It's like you're 20 minutes in. How would you know? Also, you love the film so much
you
that
have
you
time
have
to get
time
on
to
your
pull out
phone.
your phone 20 minutes in.
You're not so like enraptured in what's going on screen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, even dude, the hot dog vendor in question. Again, we're just not going to talk about like how weird the dialogue is. And again, people will say it's like a comic, dude, but adapt it, dude. If we're just going to like lift things line, is that what we do now? We just lift things line for line from a comic? Then in which case, there's no skill to adapting stuff. It's just copy and paste. Dude, let the AI do it. Let's save some money and let's have more stories. But he straight up says, oh my God, Superman, I've given you hot dogs in the past. You've saved us so many times. Now it's our turn to save you. It sounds like the bad dub on mediocre anime. Like if you ever listen to, sometimes when you listen to the English dub on anime, they're just trying to fill it, and it becomes like this weird cycle of too much exposition where a character just keeps regurgitating the same very self-evident point. Like, I don't need you to tell me that he's given Superman a hot dog. He's a hot dog vendor.
Yeah, like I assume.
Like it doesn't matter. It's just to create this artificial sense of closeness so that later on when they execute this guy, and by the way, everything in this film is a bailout. Like they're so afraid that people won't emotionally be able to handle stuff. There's constant bailouts. And we knew this was going to be the case because James Gunn removed scripted getting punched because he was afraid of backlash, which again, I would say, I'm not saying you should hit a dog, but he wanted to, and he compromised what he wanted to do because he was afraid of backlash. Does that make him a director who's brave, or does that make him a director who's afraid? Okay. But again, we don't want to see a hot dog vendor die because that's too emotional, but we got to do it because otherwise, how will we know that Lex Luthor is comically just evil,
just the worst,
and not let it hurt us? The hot dog vendor says, Superman, don't tell him anything. I don't have any family. It's not. It's like, bro,
it's okay.
It's okay. Like my life means nothing because nobody's counting on me.
No one cares about me.
But who's gonna bring Superman hot dogs in the future? Like, no, dude. And so in that moment, you get a glimpse into who the audience is, and it reminds me of that Daniel Tosh clip. It's like, don't mind me, I can't accept life. With the joke about the dead kids. It's like where he tells the joke about dead kids. It's a funny joke, and yet with the Make-A-Wish thing, and instead. He's like, oh, don't worry. They recovered because he's like, I know some of you in the audience just can't handle the idea that the punchline to a Make-A-Wish joke is, that the kid died.
Darkside, I heard there was no real reason for where all the hate Lex had for Superman. Is this true?
Nothing demonstratable on screen.
Yeah. He says it.
He says it.
He says it.
He announces why, which again is fine. But again, now I'm hearing myself say again.
Yes.
This gone into my head. But
it's not getting your head to stop saying it. Dude, everything is told to you. You don't see any of the setup. You don't have any time to be emotionally invested in anything that's going to happen because it's not like they build up to it. It's told to you.
He says that of all the metahumans, I hate him because he's the worst. He's not human. He's not a man. He's an it, and he's not super.
And he took away the spotlight from him.
And to which the engineer says, I hate him as much. Look at how I've sacrificed my humanity to defeat him. And you're like,
what
is this? And it's so heavy-handed. And again, maybe that is where we are. And again, I've said,
maybe that's where we are.
Maybe that's where we are.
Maybe films have to be so expressed to you that no one is able to just see what's on screen and infer and understand what's going on. No. It has to be told to you. You have to be told what's going on and what the stakes are, why people care about people, why you should be upset with this person, why this person's the villain. Oh, he's so awful.
Which brings us to another kind of core component about the problem with this film and the quality of this film.
Pause. Hit the like button, you guys, if you haven't already.
Through something super small.
Yeah. Sean and the hot dog vendor gets the cover of Daily Planet as a hero. What? Yeah. But you're supposed to infer that Superman wrote that article. And Taylor says, I can't imagine what was in the scenes that they cut out because they were considered too silly. No idea. That's what I'm saying. Like, at what point it's like, I can't even imagine how far they went with this. Yeah, Crypto the dog saved in kaiju battle, and hot dogs, for fuck's sake, dude. There's a lot of dogs. I missed something. What's up, good one? Yeah, Lex made it very clear he doesn't like Superman. He constantly explains it over and over and over again. He says it.
Kind of the theme, by the way, of this, if you guys are just joining us, is the idea of integrity. It's great to see Ember Goodwin in the chat. I can't wait to see what Ember Goodwin has to say about this. Ember Goodwin, another person, a friend of ours, who demonstrates great integrity. I know Ember Goodwin does not like Man of Steel, but when we were on a panel discussing Man of Steel, he was able to kind of sniff out some of the dishonest or just willfully
ignorant.
I wouldn't say ignorant, like willfully nonsensical takes that just don't apply to logic. And that's what you should be able to do. I cannot wait to hear. I mean that sincerely. I cannot wait to hear what Ember Goodwin thinks of this film.
Okay, so yes, we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit. Because we're doing the skin tomorrow. The next, there's so many more things to delve
1,000
into.
years of Superman.
Yeah.
No.
There's so much more to delve into that we would never be able to do it all in one stream. But someone was asking us if we could give a rating score, like out of 10, like what we would say the film was.
So no score is going to make sense. Okay, that's the problem. Because the caveats are too strong. A while ago, we, as a joke, we did the 25 Days of Christmas, and we, being fun, we created the most comprehensive, the most perfect rating system of all time, which was we graded it across 4 categories and averaged those to get a number score. And I actually think you need to do this for this film, because what people are saying they feel about the film, that was always one thing. Like, one component is how much do you like the film? Okay, but we would ask, like, these different categories. I think if you were to say, how much do you like the film, as far as whatever, but if you were to say, how well is it shot compared to other films, 1 to 10, how good is the acting compared to other films, how intriguing is the plot compared to, like, if you took like just different things and you broke the film down into things that are not emotionally charged, if you could like put blinders on and just recite the plot, or show a scene and let people think how well do they think the cinematographer captures up, or like what is the mise en scène, how good is the blocking, like if you were to break down those things and give them all 1 to 10 ratings, I think people would be surprised at how little their enjoyment of this film qualifies as this being a good film.
Yes,
and people are going to hate this, because whenever I say this film is mid, people take that as an insult. But again, mid is average.
No, you can enjoy a mid film, homie.
And you can enjoy bad films. But if I'm being 100% honest, even my saying of it's mid is heavily boosted by the fact that I love Superman and I'm always down to see more Superman. What is on screen borders on slop. And that's going to make people so upset. But if you were to break down, if you were to say, take the dialogue from this, the quality of dialogue, the way they talk, and put it in a Netflix show, people would tear it apart.
Yes.
If you were to take the pacing of this film and put it into a Netflix film, people would tear it apart. If you were to show some of the stills from this and the lighting, people would mock it endlessly. And how do I know? Because they did with The Flash, and it looks a lot like The Flash.
Well, and I do want to address, so yeah.
I think that's why people are hesitant.
I realized you asked this question like way back. I'm sorry. He says, not a big DC fan, but isn't Superman supposed to be confidence wrapped in a costume?
Oh my God. I mean, it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, there's different interpretations. I think
the common consensus from the people that know more about comics than I do is that there's essentially 3 Supermans. There's Superman, there's Clark, and there's the real, that he's kind of acting in both, and that you see him in between times.
He's not supposed to get his ass kicked the entire film. Okay, that I do know for a fact.
In this, when he's Superman, he's more confident. But I mean, it's weird. There are the scenes where Superman pretends, where Clark puts on the mantle of Superman with Lois, he sounds and feels more like a Superman than when he's in the suit a lot of the times, which is weird. He's more vulnerable when he's Superman than when he's Clark. And people say, oh, that's not true. It's like, he is. He flashes out. He's more emotional. He projects a false confidence at the beginning of the interview that I think a lot of people are mistaking. It's like, oh, I like that. It's like, yeah, because that's the times that he feels kind of like Christopher Reeve. He feels like, and again, it's all trying to capture that moment from Superman when he takes off the glasses and he stands up, and you're like, whoa, whatever he did, that was amazing. Like, I want to see more of that. But again, there's no dialogue. This tries to do that, but it needs the dialogue. It needs him saying, like, what is it? Have at it, Cronkite, or whatever he says.
But then it devolves. I don't know. For this film, scoring wise, it's a little bit hard because if you go based off the title and that it's supposed to be a Superman film, personally, I do not think he's the least important character.
I don't even think he's the most interesting character in this film. I think Mr. Terrific was more developed. Dude, there's so many side characters that, they're talking about making a Mr. Terrific and a Jimmy Olsen spinoff.
There's so many other things that are focused on and developed on screen more than Superman.
The real journey here is Lois discovering she loves Superman, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the actual journey we go on. Lois doesn't know she loves Superman. She's willing to break up with him. And at the end, her character realizes that she loves Superman for who he is, and she will stay with him.
Yep.
Superman already loved Lois. He just gets the girl.
So for a Superman film, it's like a 2 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
As a Justice League film, as if we're focusing on Mr. Terrific and everything else that's going on, it inches up a little bit more.
Yeah. It's just an ensemble film. As you guys know, I don't give scores anymore. Because they go ahead, read it.
Yeah, an ensemble movie, you say. Who could have anticipated this development from James Gunn?
Yeah, just a bunch of assholes, right? Just a bunch of assholes who, by the way, we were all right. That's the thing. That's why, and we're going. That's why we're doing the State of the Union, because I'm sure you felt it too. Since James Gunn was announced, we've dealt with a lot of cretins who have made a lot of bad faith. They're not even arguments; they're just lies. Yeah. The number of times something was debunked that the next day came out to be true is phenomenal. That could be a movie in of itself of how Superman made the internet look stupid. But no, I think this is actually the worst James Gunn film he's ever made. At least of the superhero films, it's worse than Suicide Squad. Okay, it's less just messy. It's a mess. It's definitely worse than all 3 of the Guardians films.
Yeah.
And again, there's no way, other than just fanboying, that somebody who says, "Oh, I love James Gunn, I love the Guardians films," will look at this and say it's better. There's just then there's no fucking cohesion. It's just a series of things that happen on screen, and you're not really given time to care about the characters. You just come in with however you come in feeling about the characters and the cast is how you're going to leave feeling. There's no time for that to settle.
No, there's no time for them to breathe. Nothing. There's too much going on. There's too many people to focus on. There's too many people to introduce.
It's so surface level. Yeah. Again, that scene that everybody thinks is going to be this touching moment with Pa Kent. That's it.
Yeah.
When they end up hugging, that's the end of that scene. You've seen that scene. There's no more. That's it. And that's the scene that's probably the closest to hitting an emotional tone in the entire film.
And in all honesty, I don't understand where people are saying they cried at all.
I think I do, because I think that the internet's filled with people who cry a lot.
The
film's filled with dudes who cry a lot.
You would have to be emotionally unstable to cry.
No, dude, we live in an emotional time.
Oh God, yeah.
Perhaps this is the Superman of this time, where almost everything elicits emotion. You go and you watch something like that film, was it Ocha or whatever, about the giant pig thing on Netflix, and I saw people who were devastated by that film. And I'm like, okay, it's a heavy-handed conversation about meat and pets. Okay. But again, people will say that it devastated them. People will go and watch random YouTube. Dude, people get emotional watching those fake ass, I'm a barber and I saw a homeless man on the street.
Oh my God.
That's the level that this plays to. It is superficial. And so do I doubt that some people found this emotional? No. And maybe that's what they're doing. They're appealing to their base.
We live in a time where Katie's more man than many men. By the way.
100%.
That's sad.
Katie's known for her manliness, her broad shoulders. She carries a lot of weight on those shoulders.
Oh my God. All right, we're wrapping up, people. Well, we gotta.
Yeah.
We are gonna do a stream tomorrow. I promise.
Yeah.
I have to think about this. I don't even know. Tony, I'm not ignoring you. Where would this film
if you don't mind, let me.
We'll tell,
because I do think that that's actually a core component. I think that because
I don't usually do the whole compare it to other films, except for a decade. And leading up to this, I was told it's going to be better. And it's not better than all of it. And so I do think that because the fandom or the segment of James Gunn fans who demanded that we bow to James Gunn and his will in what he was making, and that we accept before it ever came out that it was going to be better, it does need to be pegged somewhere on a fucking hierarchy, because otherwise the narrative never changes and they're never held to any type of standard, which, by the way, that's where they want to be. Because the last bastion will be, well, it's all subjective, right? Or as we've seen today, well, it's supposed to be stupid, which again, no, how much do you like something if your bailout for how much it moved you is, well, it's supposed to be stupid.
Yeah, and that's the other overarching thing I've seen today. There's been tons of people who do not want to say that this film isn't good. So to get around that, they were like, well, I liked the acting. I liked I like the character, I like the casting.
I don't really care. I want to know what you think of the quality of the film.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck how much you liked it. Dude, I love Hot Rod. I'm not going to sit there and say Hot Rod should win an Oscar. Like, I love this comment. Like this movie or you hate it? No. Hope. Yeah.
Yeah, like this movie or you hate Hope. Yeah. Which, by the way, I didn't see a ton of hope in this film either.
No. I think this is actually a very cynical film. But again, this film has just rattled the internet because I'm not usually the one to talk about media literacy, but dude, it is definitely worth talking about, because there are people who do not understand what they're seeing on the screen. And again, those people who are so assured in how correct they are, when they can't defend it, will always return to, well, it's all subjective. In which case, then why did you make a claim? Why did you make an objective claim? Or why did you try to make a claim that you had intended to back up? If you're going to, you should have just said, I like the things I like and I can't talk about why. Cool.
We're done.
I probably don't have a reason to talk to you, but I mean, that's fair, dude.
Yeah.
Like your stuff. But thank you so much, everybody. Stay strong. We're going to be doing this. There's a lot to go through.
Yes.
Sean O'Rourke.
We'll hit you up.
We'll hit you up. I think you have a Twitter. If not, well, I'm sure I can find you from your channel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Terrace House Guy.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone for coming through. The stream broke 2 records, 70 plus viewers and then 80 plus viewers. So thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you so much. By the way,
thank you to Terrace. This was his idea, because I was talking to him last night. He goes, you need to just do like a State of the Union.
Yeah, because if people didn't know, we don't normally stream at this time. This is very early for us to stream.
Yeah,
but
absolutely right, everyone. This isn't a media literacy thing. It's people wanting everything to be subjective versus objective. Not going to do it, dude. Go to a channel where everything's slop, and we love the slop. But, dude, if we're going to live in a world where we critique things, against what? If it's all gruel, we're just swimming in oatmeal, dog. Like, well, who cares?
But yes, thank you, everyone. Here's a clip for all the super
something
chats.
Uplifting. Played my super thanks for a while because I love Beck, and you guys have been amazing.
Bye, you guys.
Let me get it like wow. It's like right now. It's like wow. It's like right now. It's like wow. It's like right now. It's like wow. It's like right now. Oh wow. It's my life, your life. Live it once.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Take a break it on a beat, take a drink it off the ground.